Okay, our next speaker is Mark Strizek. Mark is the Executive Director at Tietto Minerals Limited, and he'll be speaking about their next mine, the next gold mine in Côte d'Ivoire. Cheers. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, hi everybody, and thanks very much to Pay Dirt, all the guys that and girls that got this organised to give us a chance to talk about what we believe we're onto something very, very valuable and special here. As it says, we've got an eye on the prize to be a next West African gold producer. And the talk today, I'll talk about our Abujar project. It's a open pitable resource. And as you can see, we're just showing you some of the workings. That's the, I'll be talking about the AG, the high-grade core. And through there's roughly about 1.4 Ks of strike that we see as really being the catalyst to a profitable open pit operation. We've got a PFS coming up, but got some very high grades right from surface. So just the disclaimer and some forward-looking statements. So we're certainly onto something interesting. So as I say, do your own research, come and talk to us about what we're up to. And fast tracking of Abujar, it's certainly been a pretty monumental year for Tietto. Working in Côte d'Ivoire, we've always been West Africa focused and always been gold. Working initially starting in Liberia in 2010 and moving into Côte d'Ivoire in 2012. So we've been there a long time, and Kagan, the MD's here, the founder, and built up a fantastic network and a great team of people that have been working with us. We've got a great Ivorian national team of geologists and so on that allowed us to be part of this growing. We just announced this year recently 3 million ounces, and as we say, it's an open pit opportunity, and the important aspect is what we see as the AG core. So I'll talk about that and why we think it's such a very good standalone development opportunity. And we're also moving into the feasibility study as well, starting to put some value metrics about this, and we're following behind others that have done it before. So it's a very, very good destination for investment. We've got a pathway for development, as it says. We've recently, last week, we announced securing the ESIA, which is a path, environmental approval. And so that's the next step is mining license. So I'll give you some timelines on that as well, and about some of the, looking at the potential mine development in terms of scale. And I think some of the opportunities, it's very, very good infrastructure and so on. So it looks like something that is very, very doable. We're well funded. We've brought on some new shareholders this year, I'm happy to say. And we've got very good cash balance to be able to allow us to execute our strategy. It's a very simple strategy, explore and also develop. And that's the key point here, is that very often it's the case that you run into the feasibility stage, but we'll continue that high tempo exploration. As it said there, we've got a large land package here at Abujar. One of the analysts said it's severely unexplored, and that's quite true. There's lots and lots of targets, and I'll talk about what's coming up in the coming year. There's a lot of drilling we've got planned. There's still a lot of artisanal workings, and we've also got, I think the key differentiator about Tietto is the fact that we can drill a lot cheaper than anyone else, because we've brought that drilling power internally, 6 rigs, and it's not a misprint, $35 a metre. So it really is rewriting the rules of exploration. So corporate update, as I said there, we've got a very, very healthy cash balance. And there's a significant amount of upside here as we look at what we've actually got. 3 million ounces on the door of being the next West African gold mine. That's the target. And you can see this year we've been able to bring on some gold specialists in 1832, holding a fairly significant stake. Also Hong Kong Casino, that's an individual that lives here in Perth and very focused on investment, but a good position there with the top 20. And importantly, in terms of shareholders, lots of skin in the game. The most recent raise, the directors put in $1 million, so we're definitely aligned with the interests of our shareholders. So just talking there about who we are, and importantly we've got Kagan here, the founder of the company, and with our geological Mr. Yahya and Jermaine. And Kagan is an engineer by training, founded the company in 2010, was in Liberia, crossed the border into Cote d'Ivoire, as I said, in 2012, and we got on, he pegged the ground in Abujar in 2014. And the team that we're showing there have been with him along the journey, and very happy to say that they're part of a 3 million ounce discovery. It's not often you get to be part of that. Aside from that, we've got Francis Harper in finance, was founding chairman of West African Resources. Paul Kiddo and myself have both been managing directors of ASX listed companies. Paul discovering Barty West at Ampella. Hanjing Su worked with Jake Klein, Executive Director at Sino Gold. So we've got a very, very good skill set. As I said, we're all shareholders. We've all reached into our pockets to buy shares on market, well, as part of raises as well. Aside from that, we've got a fairly good coverage in terms of research. Both Paul Howard and Matt Keane now has moved on, but they've both been to site. So there's, you don't need to just listen to me. You can go and look and see what they're writing about us. So Cote d'Ivoire, we definitely believe it is a preeminent destination, definitely unexplored. There's some majors there, obviously Barrick, Endeavour, and in Australia we know about Perseus. They've had some very great success with Sissingué, and then moving into the larger scale Yaouré project. You can see Abujar there right in the middle of the country, a very good network of infrastructure, dual lane road to Yamoussoukro, tarred road which is being upgraded to Daloa. Daloa is the third largest country. Very, very strong government support with a great Mining Act and fiscal regime, and the government is very supportive. We've had a lot of assistance in terms of securing that environmental approval. The infrastructure, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but power, a very extensive power network, hydropower, very cheap. So it's a country that mining currently only accounts for about 2% of GDP. You've got cocoa, coffee, cashews, and inside Abidjan probably between 8 to 10 million people, but a growing middle class. And around the country, as you travel around, there's lots happening. They've had double-digit growth, so it's great to be part of this. It's a very enthusiastic and supportive country, and also the people. So just kind of drilling down into Abujar, and this is where we have the resources there. You can see we've just recently announced 3 million ounces. Importantly, the focus for us, and it's the bit that gets us all excited, is what we call the AG, and that high-grade core. You've got around about 1.6 million ounces there at just under 2.2 grams. So really starting to shape up as a very good proposition for a standalone. So I'll walk you through that. We've got indicated and inferred, and a good position for us to be moving into the feasibility studies. We've also got another project, we're starting to see the development of a mine camp at APG as well. So, that's only inferred at this stage, but there's still potential for growth there. And we also announced a maiden resource at SG. So as it says, the resources are coming from the middle tenement, that you can see there. I'll just step back. We've got 70 k's of strike between the two other tenements that are to the north and to the south. And we've got some targets. We'll talk about that exploration upside. We've got excellent metallurgy. I'll show you that as I talk about the PFS. And as it says, we've got our own drill rigs drilling at insanely cheap rates and really allowing us to do major size programs for the cost of a junior. So this slide, I think it really just captures how quickly we've been able to grow resources from the 700,000 ounces at 2.1 in listing and the IPO in 2018 to just announcing just over 3 million ounces there just about a week or so ago. And importantly, what you can see, you've got that darker green showing AG, so just AG by itself is larger than the resource we had last year in November. And importantly, you can see that, that growth in indicated as well. So it's growing very, very positively for us. And what I'll show you in the next slide, we'll drill down and have a look at the AG deposit. And this, as it says there, you've got that robust high-grade core there of 1.6 million ounces at 2.2. Some absolutely cracking grades, and you can see there we talk about those gold gram metres, the 7 at 57 from 76 metres, 7 at 41, so high grades right at surface, and that's why this is a very attractive development proposition. Its majority of it is all is fresh mineralisation, so we've been able to demonstrate that in the resource model, and importantly, it's still open at depth. Some of the drilling that we're planning, you can see the dark black outlines. That's where the indicated mineralisation is. There's some low-hanging fruit there to lift some of the material below that into indicated category. Just some little screen cross-sections there showing you the resource. And this is part of the high-grade core. There's 20 metres at 14 on the left there, 21 at 7.3, so some high, quite high grades in this, and also some quite good widths when you look at the width of the package, between 50 or 70 metres as it would present on a open pit floor. APG, it's 5 kilometres to the south. It's a fairly large structure by itself. We've just announced there 700,000 ounces of inferred. There's still a fair bit more drilling to do on this, and what we'll be looking at drilling in terms of infill is targeting some of these high-grade lodes, and you can see there 9 at 2.3, 14 metres at almost 2.5. So aside from that, this year we've got a fairly ambitious drilling program, over 70,000 metres going into 2021. And importantly, we can see round about 20 of those targets are all within 10-kilometre radius of where the proposed AG mill is. So as taking away the AG resources there's over 16 targets on the east and the main shear and the western shear. That main shear, so far we've drilled on a 20 kilometres within that circle there, 11.5 kilometres has delivered 3 million ounces. There's still 8.5 Ks that's bookended that we know is mineralised either side, so we'll be drilling through there. And aside from that, we've also got that western shear to go after as well. So there's a lot of targets very, very close. But we'll also be stretching a little bit further afield into the southern tenement and the north tenement. And you can see there's some of the targets we're going after there. So we've got, as it says, a pipeline of prospects at various stages. So lots and lots of news flow coming up. This is, I think, one of the big differentiators is the fact that we took that in-house, and we've got the ability to drill very, very cheaply with our own rigs. So they'll be ramping up just after the election and continuing to drill. Aside from that, we're also moving into the feasibility stages now. And as it says there's a lot of aspects that are working towards the development of a gold mine here. We've got that high-grade core with that mineralisation right from surface, and we've also got an ideal location in terms of infrastructure, very close to grid power, and we've also got some fantastic metallurgy properties. As we saw from the original slide, there's nobody living on top of this, so there's no reason, we'll have very low, there's no large resettlement or anything required, so there's no obstacles. Environmental approval's been received, and we're moving into the mining licence stage. We expect that in Q1 next year, and the mining convention thereafter. So importantly, it's all been done before by others ahead of us, and the government, understands exactly what needs to be done. So very, very pleased with the support we've been getting. In terms of the metallurgy, I think that's one of the real aces here. As it says, it's absolutely fantastic. Very, very high gravity and very high CIL. The energy inputs are probably about 30% lower than our peers. So when you put it together, you've got a very simple flow sheet, single stage crushing, SAG mill, then gravity and CIL. So low CapEx and low OpEx by virtue. You saw there it's grid power and low energy inputs. So the PFS coming out in Q1, so something to look forward to. Aside from that, we've been working with our local communities in Abujar as we've been drilling for over 6 years. This is one of the annual compensation agreements, and I'm happy to say that that's Fred there, our country manager, and also an integral part, and I'm happy to say that both is a shareholder in the company as well. So some of the catalysts: we've completed the update in the resource, we've got the environmental approval. Looking forward, you've got the PFS coming up, the mining licence, another resource update, and then delivering that DFS. So we're certainly a company that is moving very quickly on the development front, but remember there'll also be lots of exploration news coming up, so we've got that 70,000 metres. So that's it from me. I think my time is up, but definitely come out and have a chat to us, and thanks very much for your time.